Take a look at this work titled Relatum by Ufan from 1988. There doesn't seem to be much here visually. There's a stone resting on a rusted iron plate. Neither seems to have much in the way of manipulation by an artist, outside of having been arranged on top of one another. What's going on here with this very simple arrangement of things? What can these objects negotiate by themselves, and how can we restructure our ways of approaching art to alter conventions? To understand what Lee is trying to say, let's take a look at his career and his practice. The artist, Liu Fan, was born in Japanese colonized Korea in 1936. In 1956, he took a painting at the prestigious Seoul National University, but 2 months after enrolling, he transferred to Nihon University in Tokyo, where he studied philosophy. His time there, studying the phenomenological work of Martin Heidegger, greatly impacted his approach to his artwork later. After graduation, he went on to become a noted essayist and became an instructor at an art school in Tokyo. In 1973, he was appointed as a professor at Tama Art University in Tokyo, where he remained until 2007, and has spent most of his life and career in Japan, but has also remained popular in Korea. He has remained a lifelong academic and intellectual while pursuing a busy exhibition schedule, and has opened 2 museums dedicated to his work in Naoshima, Japan, and Arles, France. Lee has worked with several mediums and played with different styles, from painting to sculptural work that we first began with. However, from the beginning, he has always worked with reductive, even minimalist compositions, always interested in form and materiality over representation. His painting work is rightfully acclaimed and was integral to the Dansaikwa or monochromatic painting style, but it is his time leading the Mono-ha movement that has cemented his practice in Eastern and Western art historical canons. Lee's philosophical background oriented his artistic endeavors to question how meaning is conveyed through objects, and was looking for means to do so outside of Western artistic conventions. Representation and even the act of making itself were integral ideas to Western artists, traditions which Lee was interested in altering. He sought to bring the unmade into the conversation, looking at ways in which things outside of human creation can still convey meaning through an experience with objects. It is through this lens, then, we might gain an understanding of what Lee is attempting to get at with this deceptively simple, and perhaps a little confusing, piece Relatum. Relatum is the title given to a large series of sculptural works produced by Lee from the early 70s onwards, all of which explore the relationships between objects, most often found unmade stones, iron plates, sheet glass, wood, and raw cotton. The encounter with the work, the phenomenological experience of seeing it, understanding its weight and the relationships between its objects, is what's at stake for Lee. Consider the work again, first pictured at the beginning of the presentation. Relatum, Lee Ufan's 1988 sculpture from stone and iron, forces audiences to consider both the relationship between the ordered geometric iron plate and the rock which rests on top of it. Also, the invisible forces, as Lee calls it, which binds them all together, separating the audience from it, or even which develops all of them within the same milieu. The sculptures prompt a kind of meditation on the shifting proximities between not just the materials, but between the object, the viewer, and the space within which they all coexist. There is often a relationship between the man-made and the natural in Lee's work, which is shown here in the contrast between the organically formed rock and the sharp-cornered plate. How these materials interact and bring their own material histories together, both formed by external forces but in different ways, and triangulate the viewer in that interaction. Lee's work has been exhibited around the globe, accumulating serious accolades: a well-received exhibition at the 2007 Biennale, a retrospective at the Guggenheim, and a show at Dia Beacon, highlighting their acquisitions of 3 of his pieces at their permanent collection. His work is in the collections of major institutions including MoMA, Dia, the Guggenheim, the Centre Pompidou, and Tate London, and he's represented by Pace. His career has been, undoubtedly, extremely successful, and aside from a packed exhibition calendar, he changed the ways in which the contemporary art world approached sculpture and painting. His philosophies on emphasizing object materiality and his Spartan, minimalist approach to the aesthetic have both been emphatically taken up across the world, while his paintings have garnered considerable attention and become highly sought after both by private collectors and institutions. Lee Ufan's practice was developed as an antidote to stifling Western conventions of what art should achieve and how it should get there. His career's emphasis on spare arrangements of both objects in a sculpture or forms on a canvas has sought to bring attention to how we experience our surroundings. Lee's work is in the collection of multiple major institutions around the world and has an expansive body of work available online for everyone to enjoy.